Hi, we're
Huh.
from the Film Classics class of
Yeah.
spring of 2012, and we're going to be reviewing classics of Hayao Miyazaki.
True story.
Yay! What?
You don't even take this class.
It's Miyazaki.
She's got a point.
Okay. We're gonna start with Princess Mononoke, which is an epic. And we can say that with absolute certainty because we understand what an epic is from Film
We
Classics
just went over
class.
that this Thursday.
Yeah. Princess Mononoke starts off with our hero, Ashitaka, who gets touched by a boar god that's cursed, and the curse gets onto his arm and starts to look really bad.
Yeah.
And his elders basically tell him that he has to go to the west and find the source that cursed the boar, and he has to see with eyes unclouded by hate. That's what he has to do. He does go far, far to the west. He sees that where they've strip mined this forest, there's a woman that she's like the mayor of Irontown.
Yeah.
And she's the one that's killing the gods, and she's the one that's driving the industrialism. And there's another woman named San, well, young woman, I say she's really a young girl, that's with the wolves, and she's called Princess Mononoke.
Hence the name.
Yeah, Mononoke means vengeful ghosts.
Yeah.
The wolf girl, San, is always against the ironworks woman, Eboshi. Always. They're always opposing forces. And they hate each other because San thinks she's a wolf. Because she was thrown at Maro's feet by her parents when she was a baby.
Yeah.
So instead of killing her, Maro adopted her, and she says, in a very sad dialogue, she says, "My poor, ugly, beautiful daughter is not a human or a wolf," and it's very sad, but...
Like a good portion of his films have a certain sadness to them.
Yeah, because it's very real. Yeah. He goes there and he finds the Irontown and Eboshi and San.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Eboshi is not an entirely evil character, and Miyazaki's really good about not having anything being solidly evil or solidly good.
There's usually a reason.
Yeah, Eboshi...
And they think it's for the greater good.
Eboshi's town is populated not only by, men who are doing the work, but also by women who used to work at brothels and lepers. And she bought up the contracts of all these women who worked in brothels because she figured, they can work for me and they'll be twice as grateful and they'll be happy doing the work that I give them. And the lepers are just glad that they have a place to be and eat and
Be all
sleep.
lepery.
And they make her guns for her. And that's
They're
interesting.
very good guns. Yes. Miyazaki movie Guns.
Yeah, but, they are just trying to defend themselves, so...
Which they have every right to.
Yeah, because the samurai are also intruding on the land, so they're trying to take Irontown from Lady Eboshi, so it kind of makes sense that they would need something to defend themselves, not only from forest spirits, but also...
We're not gonna take it.
And, yeah, that happened. Ashitaka goes back into the forest to try and talk to the forest spirit.
Not Totoro.
No, it's not. But he sees the men that have been thrown off the river, and he takes them back to Irontown. Lucky for them, because they would have died out there without him. So that's how he discovers Irontown and Lady Eboshi and everything that's going on there. Little does everyone know, San, the wolf girl, is attacking that night. Really fortuitous coincidence there. She attacks, and Ashitaka tries to save her, but she doesn't really want to be saved by him because she hates humans. Catch-22 there. And so he does the next best thing. He knocks Lady Eboshi out, and he knocks San out, and he takes San over his shoulder and just basically is like, I'm gonna leave now. Well, the women who are with Lady Eboshi really don't like that he did that, because they don't like San, because her wolves have killed their husbands.
Exactly.
That's justifiable.
Yeah.
By accident, one of the women shoots him in the back while he's walking away.
Backstabber.
This is another way that he's very much like the epic hero character.
Which we covered Thursday.
He's carrying a small woman with a hole in his side. He continues to walk on, thanking people that have been nice to him, while he's bleeding to death, and then he opens a gate that it takes 10 men to open with one hand. And then he's like, to the wolves that are coming, "I'm bringing out your princess." And then he turns around and is like, "Thank you for your hospitality," and he leaves.
Just like that.
Like a boss. San, of course, at first she doesn't really like the guy very much, but you know, he's bleeding to death and he did that for her.
I guess you're kind of a good guy now. Hi.
So she takes him to where the forest spirit can help to heal the bullet wound. The forest spirit heals the bullet wound. It does nothing for his cursed arm. San and Ashitaka get a little closer. Meanwhile, one of the monks blackmails Iboshi into helping him get the head of the forest spirit because the emperor will pay big money for the head of the forest spirit because it gives you immortality.
Big heads up.
They take the forest spirit's head. They put it in a big metal jar.
It's creepy.
And it is creepy because it's like a deer's head and it's
all
covered in
bloody
goo.
And goo.
It's
and
goo,
floaty.
like this clear glue. But then once the forest spirit loses his head, like all this gelatinous glue starts coming out of his body, and anything that it touches dies instantly. Of course, then San and Ashitaka start to chase after the people that have taken the forest spirit's head. They get the forest spirit's head out of the container and they hold it up, both of them. And they start yelling to the forest spirit, "This is your head, please come and take it back and leave us." Well, the more goop that falls on them, it looks just like the scar tissue that was on Ashitaka's hands, but it's all over their bodies now. And the minute that the head rejoins with the body, this huge explosion comes over everything. And it makes everything grow. All of a sudden, it just like, it suddenly takes everything back, makes everything grow. And the humans that were, like, had survived, one of them says something like, "Oh, I didn't know that the forest spirit made trees grow." Which is kind of silly. He's a forest spirit.
You should know.
Right? But then Ashitaka looks at his hands and there's like darkened, like whenever you have a scar and
Scar tissue.
and it's actually healed, it's darkened but it's still normal skin. So his hand has returned to normal. And he and San basically say, you know, she's going to live in the forest and he's going to live in the city and they'll visit each other when they can.
They'll live happily ever after.
Yeah, pretty much that's exactly what happened. Except for there were no more gods because the gods had died by that point. It's so much more complicated than we can get into just telling you
It would
about
take 3 or 4 videos.
It would take several.
And notes.
Yeah. And we're not going to do that. Well, all of Miyazaki's movies are very tuned into environmentalism and, you know, just
No burning forests.
not only that, just being a decent human being.
And
Which,
love. And
yeah.
loyalty and friendship.
That too. It's very interesting because Miyazaki's movies aren't really that formalistic. They're just fantasy. And they're from a reality that's ultimately cooler than ours. Most of the characters experience things that no one else does because they enter a world of fantasy. The only bad thing about Miyazaki's films is that they're long. They are long and involved. And if you do not have the time to
Or to pay attention.
Yeah, if you do not have the time to sit and pay attention to them, you should not watch them because you're going to miss out.
You're most likely going to want to have a notepad with you.
Well, I don't know about the notepad, but you're definitely going to want to shut off your cell phone and just be like zoned in on it because
You're going to want to empty your bladder.
he went there.